Okay, so this meeting is something that we've done before. Carol and Joey pretty much run the entire meeting where they are doing training for new managers that are going on to the paperless process. We're also embarking on a round of training at the regional and area manager level for operations, and then more training and integration with the team here in Fort Lauderdale. So we invited all those folks. We have representation from really the entire company, I think, right now, with Mark and Steve Hoxie here as well. Tracy's here from training, and all the folks from the accounting and invoicing. So we're going to run through the training, and I just ask you to don't feel like you need to absorb it all. You know, certainly if you're the new managers, you got to really make sure you get it. But afterwards and ongoing, Carol and Joey and the entire team here are here to support you. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Joey.
All right, so we're going to walk through a couple different things here, but just to give you kind of a bigger picture idea of what we're doing so you can understand all the processes before we go through them. We're gonna open up the app. We're going to make a purchase, which is something brand new for you guys. We're going to show you how to complete the paperless service ticket on the app, and then we're going to show you how to complete and send that ticket into billing through the paperless transmittal on the portal. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up the app. I'm going to back out of this screen here. So you should all be able to see the app on your screen here. We're on the scheduled page, and we're just going to kind of randomly pick a call that, let's say, we were working on today, this Blockbuster, which isn't a customer. So you'll notice, if you've had the app for a while now, you'll notice these three new tabs across the top: ticket, parts, and tasks. The ticket one you're probably familiar with by now is just a graphical representation of how the ticket would look once it's all filled out. Since it's not filled out, you see that none of this information is in here. But like I said at the very beginning, the first thing we're going to do is purchase a part for this skid. So we're going to click on this parts tab. And what you would do on your Samsung phone, and I'm going to have to exit out of this screen, is use the left soft key to bring up the option menu, and you're going to be able to add a purchase. So you can click Add Purchase from this window, and it's going to bring up the purchasing window. So normally what you'd get, you'll see over here, we're listed in Africa because the GPS doesn't pick up signal here. But normally what would happen is the GPS would place you exactly wherever your phone is. And you'd get a list of nearby vendors, and you would also see a list of most commonly used vendors. So after you use the app for a while, it's going to remember the places you go day to day, but it'll also show you the places that you're standing next to. As a third option, you can search, and the search is pretty powerful. It gives you a lot of different options. You can just search by name. So if we were to put train in here, it would show you the train vendors. The most used one would come up first, and you'll actually see this is our customer number on your train invoice. So all of these should reference that customer number right on the invoice that you hopefully have in your hand by now.
This is an extremely important part, particularly with train, carrier, and Johnstone, that you use the customer number that's on the document in front of you. With train, we are consolidating to one customer number and hope to have that done by the end of the month. But right now, there is 41 train vendors in the system, and you have to pick the one that has the customer number that's on the document in front of you for train, carrier, and Johnstone.
So, for instance, if you had that train invoice in front of you and our customer number was 1583970, and you entered that into the app, it's going to find that vendor in our system for you and show it right there on the screen. So once you've found the vendor that you're looking to purchase from, you can just click on the vendor. And since we started from the skid, and I'll show you a different way to go through this process, but since we started from the skid, it remembers the skid number that we started on. It also knows that it's a train invoice. And it's asking for two things right out of the box. The first is the picture. So what we're asking you to do there is just capture an image of the receipt. So what you can do is click on that, and it'll bring up the camera. And this is not going to show the real camera, but just presume these two dots are a picture of the receipt you have. And you can just snap a picture of the receipt, and then if this image is acceptable and not blurry, you can just say OK. And it's going to upload that receipt image right to the server, and it shows you a little thumbnail right here. So the next thing it's asking for is a total. So you can click on this Add Total, and it's really asking you for more than a total. What you have to put in is the invoice number as it appears on the invoice. So let's just say this was the document number that was given. And I don't know, Carol, if you want to speak to some of the different document numbers required, but
Yes, it's really the only one that's really important is Grainger. When you're entering from Grainger, you have to enter the delivery number on the document. Typically, they have a sales order number and a delivery number on every document, and we can only pay from the delivery number. So you have to remember that.
So we're going to keep this as SKID just to keep it easy. This is a new feature, but you have to select the invoice date that's actually printed on the invoice. So this is important for a couple of reasons, and maybe Carol can explain, but what we're looking for is the actual date that's on the receipt. So if you purchased it yesterday and just got around to entering it today, we still want to know what the date on the receipt is. So let's just say we did purchase it today. We can say July 15th is our invoice date. And then we're looking for a couple of subtotal items and then a total. So the first is freight. So you just enter the total amount of freight on the invoice. So let's just say there's nothing because we walked in the train and bought it, or if there was, $100 to ship that part overnight, you'd enter the freight. You'd also break out the taxes on the bottom of the invoice. So let's just say there was $34 in taxes. And then you would also enter the total of the invoice. So that's the very bottom total. And then you would hit save. So is there anything to add on this screen?
Nope.
So once you hit save, you get a couple more things get highlighted. We added a couple things to the screen. You'll notice the invoice number is now at the top. That's what we typed in the window. The freight and the taxes are now broken out here on the receipt. But we also got two more options, to add parts and add miscellaneous parts. So what we're going to do first is walk you through the parts builder process, and we'll do that by clicking Add Part. And it's going to give you a list of prefixes in our system. So this should be a list of every kind of generic HVAC part that you could possibly purchase. And you should be able to scroll through this list and find what you're looking for. They're sorted alphabetically. So let's just say we wanted to purchase a motor. So now we're in the parts builder, and it's asking for some options on that motor. Some of the parts prefixes you'll find have less options. Some have more. This is kind of a standard one. So it's asking for a couple of things like what's the horsepower. And so you just click on the option here, and then it's going to give you the options, and you can pick which one you want. So this will be, we can just say 3-phase. And so once you have this part number built, and you'll see this long part number here at the top, that contains all of the information that you just selected. A final option comes up here at the bottom, and it says Add Part. So you just click Add Part, and you'll see the part number carry over here, and we're asking for a couple things about that part. The quantity, so let's just say we bought one, and the unit cost. Now, the unit cost ties back to the receipt. So I can actually, let's just say this was an $800 motor, and I can try and hit save here, and it's going to tell me you don't have enough balance on the receipt. So it's actually checking the receipt to make sure you don't basically overdraw. So what you have to do is enter the amount that was on that document. And also for cross-reference, you can put in the distributor part number. So that would be Trane's part number, or whomever you bought it from. And then you can hit save on that receipt, or on that item. And we'll notice that the item got added, the description got built out, and then there's the cost here. So two very important things on the bottom is the total amount of the invoice. That's the amount you entered, but also the balance. So the balance says if you add up all of these items here on the right, plus, and then subtract it from the total, this is how much you have left over. So you bought $16 more worth of things that we don't keep track of. So from here, you can use the add miscellaneous parts. If you've line itemed out everything that's necessary, you can hit add miscellaneous parts.
It's important to line item your parts first before you use miscellaneous parts, so it will automatically do the total for you.
And then do you guys want to speak to what requires line iteming?
Sure. Go ahead, Carol.
A line item part is any part that's in a template, anything that we use on a PM, filters, belts, coil cleaning, and sanitizer, and any sellable type of part, I call it. Miscellaneous would be more like your kit material, wire nuts, tape, spray, non-line item sellable parts are your miscellaneous. Okay?
So all you have to do on this screen is enter the number of lines that it comprised. So let's just say we bought tape and screws. You can enter 2 there and then hit save on that item, and it's going to add your miscellaneous part with your quantity and your dollar amount. But it's important to note that the balances went to 0, and you have no more options left. So we're basically have completed out everything you need to complete on this receipt.
The auditors inside the office, when they get this, when you send it in with a skid or later on with bulk purchases, will be auditing the fact that miscellaneous parts are truly miscellaneous parts, that you don't put a compressor, a coil, motor, or any sellable part under miscellaneous. So otherwise it will be rejected and you'll have to do it over again.
So one more thing to mention on the picture, there are instances where you have multiple page receipts, and right now if you just click on this, it brings up a picture of the receipt. You can actually click down on here and add a stored receipt, which will bring up your, hopefully, brings up your stored images, and you can add a second page here. And you can do that with either the camera or an image you have already on your phone. And now when you click on this, you'll get a list of 2 images that you can see. So you can add, 3 or 4 page invoices if you have those. And then I'll just show you real quick. I'll hop out of here. I don't remember the skid number. And you'll notice that John Smith, who happens to be our test user, added a train mobile receipt for $350, and you can actually see the image that we uploaded right from the portal. You can also see the additional pages that he added, which I found off Google Image Search. And then a report which shows you basically what was purchased. So all that information's, transparent and instantly available on the skid. You can see it, as soon as it's entered.
So if there's any questions, we still have them muted, right?
Correct.
Yeah, if you have a question, you can hit #6 and unmute the phone, and we'll take a couple of questions.